Good evening, everybody. Good evening, councillors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Nerina Di Lorenzo. I'm the CEO of Moreland City Council, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's council meeting. This is also the first time we're live streaming the election of our mayor and deputy mayor, and I would like to welcome our online viewers. This recording will also be available as video on demand, so please note attendees tonight may be recorded during the meeting. I call on councillors to elect an interim chairperson to start the meeting.
I nominate Councillor or ex-Mayor Hopper.
Yep. I call on Councillor Hopper to be the interim chair of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. We've got some seriously wheelie chairs here this evening. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us for the live streaming of Council ceremonial meeting for the first time. I'd like to begin by recognising the cultural diversity of our great city, that today we are meeting on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people, and by paying my respects to their elders, past and present, and to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who might be joining us here this evening. With us tonight, we have a number of councillors in attendance. We're joined by Councillor Sue Bolton from the North East Ward, Councillor Lita Gillies from the North West Ward, Councillor Helen Davidson, outgoing Deputy Mayor and from the North West Ward, Councillor John Kavanagh from the North West Ward, Councillor Samantha Ratnam from the South Ward, myself, Councillor Megan Hopper, outgoing Mayor, Councillor Lambros Tapanos from the South Ward, Councillor Lenka Thompson from the North East Ward, Councillor Rob Thompson from the North East Ward, and Councillor Oscar Yildiz from the North West Ward. We also have a number of officers in attendance with us this evening. Our Chief Executive Officer, who you've already heard from, Nerina Di Lorenzo, our Director of Corporate Services, James Scott, our Director of City Infrastructure, Grant Thorne, our Director of Social Development, Arden Joseph, and our Director of Planning and Economic Development, Kirsten Costa, as well as our Manager of Governance, Lydia Harding, and a number of other staff with us this evening, including our communications team who are filming us from up above. We have a number of distinguished guests joining us this evening. Tom McIntosh and Anna-Olivia Carley-Hannon from Jane Garrett's Ministerial Office, Steve Watson from Jane Garrett's Electorate Office, Mark O'Brien, JP, from Kelvin Thompson's Electorate Office and former Mayor of the City of Moreland, John Carney, Area Commander for Victoria Police, Paul Lloyd, Acting Senior Sergeant at Brunswick Police Station, Mark Higginbotham, former Mayor of Moreland, and I can also see Joe Caputo, former Mayor of Moreland, as well as other former councillors here this evening. I think I saw Joe Cannellan here earlier. Yes, at the back, acknowledging Joe Cannellan, former councillor for the South Ward, and other distinguished guests. We have received apologies this evening from the Honourable Jane Garrett MP, who is the State Member for Brunswick, and Minister for Emergency Services, Minister for Consumer Affairs, Gaming and Liquor Regulation, as well as from the Honourable Kelvin Thompson MP, the Federal Member for Wills, Frank Maguire MP, who is the Parliamentary Secretary for Medical Research and the State Member for Broadmeadows, and Lizzie Blandthorne MP, who is the State Member for Pascoe Vale. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest or conflict of interest that you wish to declare this evening? No. In that case, I will return the chair to the Chief Executive Officer as the returning officer for the election of the Mayor and Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hopper. As the returning officer, I would like to call now for nominations for the position of Mayor for the 2015-16 mayoral year. Shout out. Councillor Thompson?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Samantha Ratnam, and I'd also like to speak to my nomination. Thank you.
So Councillor Lenka Thompson nominates Councillor Samantha Ratnam. And is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor John Kavanagh.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Lita Gillies.
I'll second.
So Councillor Oscar Yildiz nominates Councillor Lita Gillies, seconded by Councillor Hopper. Would Councillor Thompson like to speak to the motion?
Yes, it would be my pleasure to take this opportunity for my nomination for appointing Councillor Samantha Ratnam into the for Moreland City Council's Mayor position for 2015-2016. I believe that Councillor Ratnam possesses all the vital attributes to be an outstanding spokesperson and representative for Moreland and for all of us on the council. Over the past 3 years, we have all seen Councillor Ratnam excel in her role as councillor, and one who shows great depth and understanding of the multitude of issues that the council is a part of. And it is only fitting that the next step for such a high-quality councillor is to the role of mayor. She has leapt into roles of responsibilities and portfolios with great enthusiasm and professionalism. Councillor Ratnam's efforts show just how committed she is to those responsibilities, because she certainly gives 100% and all of her heart to it, and she will do the same in her role as mayor. When she is making a decision for Moreland as well, it is always rewarding to hear her input and her rationale. It is clear that she makes her decisions based on social justice, environmental awareness, and using grassroots democracy, all the while maintaining transparency and civility to get the best outcome for the community. I believe Councillor Ratnam has brought many great ideas to the council chamber, which have then been implemented after being successfully carried by us as a councillor group, and not to mention all the valued contributions she has made to the public debate and the many briefings and meetings that we have as councillors outside of the political sphere. She has been a strong advocate for sustainable and high-quality development, and also for those part of the LGBTQI, asylum seeker, refugee and multiculturalism communities. Councillor Ratnam has always held that we can protect and enhance our natural assets as well as our economy. Her commitment for sustainable transport mode shift is evident in her own biking culture, and she understands well the connection between having healthy spaces to produce a healthy and safe people, including especially in our youth. I believe that she will be an outstanding mayor, an inclusive mayor using the breadth of our differences as a strength and bringing out the best of us being as councillors. She knows how and when to include those interested in issues, and I believe she will be a strong chair in our monthly council meetings. If you want a mayor to be voted in on merit, then I believe Councillor Samantha Ratnam is precisely the councillor that we need to be voting in this evening, hands down. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Yildiz, would you like to speak to your motion?
Sure, thank you. I think Councillor Gillies over the last 3 years has certainly demonstrated her willingness and her commitment, her dedication to the role. In particular, once a month, Councillor Gillies organises ward meetings with her community. She's approachable, she's available. I think to be a mayor, there are some key attributes. You need to have integrity, you need to have accountability, you need to be someone who is, I guess, has the interests of her community at heart. I haven't known any other councillor who really does take her job seriously. She's always attending meetings in terms of punctuality, in terms of inclusiveness, in terms of ensuring that she's representing everybody, not just her ward. Time and time again, I've seen Lita answering her phone, answering and responding to emails. She has a good relationship with, I would say, most councillors on this council. She's certainly not afraid to speak her mind. She's someone who's quite assertive. She's got some fantastic interpersonal skills and someone who's always got a smile on her face. And I think that draws a lot of people to her. She really does have some fantastic, I guess, values and some, I think, time and time again, I see the family obedience and the respect she has for people around her. I think she'd make an excellent mayor because it is a year, next year, that will determine, I guess, and close up what we've done over the last 4 years. She's someone who is passionate about her role, and I really do hope that tonight councillors do vote on what they think the person will do and not what what they're necessarily going to do. She will do what she says she's going to do. She's never ever not delivered on her promises. Often she, I guess, probably under-promises and over-delivers. So on that note, I hope she does receive the votes enough to get over the line tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Yildiz. Okay, so what I will do now is call for a show of hands for each candidate in the order in which they were nominated. So, all those voting for Councillor Samantha Ratnam, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 votes. All those voting for Councillor Gillies, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 5 votes. There is an absolute majority of 6. As the returning officer for the election of Mayor, I declare Councillor Samantha Ratnam duly elected as the Mayor of Moreland for the 15-16 mayoral year. Congratulations, Councillor Ratnam. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we will also do is now move to the election of the Deputy Mayor. As the returning officer, I would like to call for nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor for the 15-16 mayoral year. I call for nominations.
I'll nominate Councillor Lita Gillies.
Councillor Hopper nominates Councillor Gillies. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Davidson? No, excuse me. A seconder? Councillor Yildiz.
And I would like to nominate Councillor Rob Thompson.
So Councillor Davidson nominates Councillor Rob Thompson. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Kavanagh. Okay. If there are no other nominations, the nominations are closed. Similarly, I will call for a show of hands in the order in which nominees were nominated. So, all those voting for Councillor Gillies, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 votes. All those voting for Councillor Robert Thompson, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an absolute majority. As the returning officer for the election of the Deputy Mayor, I declare Councillor Lita Gillies duly elected as Deputy Mayor of Moreland City Council for the 15-16 mayoral year. Congratulations, Councillor Gillies. I would now like to invite our new Mayor to receive the mayoral chains and to take her place as Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Moreland.
Honoured guests, it's a real privilege to be here with you tonight. I'd like to first begin by acknowledging some of our guests with us here this evening. Former Mayor Mark Higginbotham, former Mayor Joe Caputo, former Councillor Joe Connellan, Paul Lloyd, Acting Senior Sergeant of the Brunswick Police Station, and John Kearney, Area Commander of Victoria Police. Fellow councillors, officers, citizens of Moreland and friends, we meet tonight on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation who've cared for this land for over 40,000 years. This land has always been and always will be Aboriginal land and was never ceded. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future, and to all other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here tonight and who live in Moreland. Firstly, thank you to my fellow councillors for your support tonight and for trusting me with this role. I commit myself to working with my fellow councillors to serving the people of Moreland to the best of my ability. I commit to working collaboratively with energy and integrity in order to create lasting positive change in our city. We are a team of 11, each with different skills, strengths and talents. Together, we have achieved a lot over the last 3 years. We've made significant changes to our planning scheme, we've developed Council's first fossil fuel divestment strategy. We invested in family violence prevention programs and championed the cultural and social diversity of Moreland. And we were pleased to appoint our new CEO to run the organisation. In the meantime, we've ensured that our core services to the community are being delivered to a very, very high standard. We have done all of this in a time where local government is facing increasing constraints on the way it can work. We have taken the fight to the state and federal governments when we needed to get better results for our community. I also wish to acknowledge the work of all those councillors who have come before us in helping make Moreland what it is today. I would like to acknowledge and thank our outgoing Mayor, Councillor Megan Hopper. She's done a great job as our representative and has reached out to the community in many ways. I would also particularly like to thank current Greens Councillor Lenka Thompson and past councillors Joe Connellan, Toby Archer, Andrea Sharam and Fraser Brindley. They were my inspiration for entering local government and the reason why Moreland has now elected its first Green Mayor. I am so proud to represent the Greens. It is a growing movement that gives me hope in a bleak political landscape. The Greens are committed to building sustainable, vibrant and harmonious communities. This means ensuring that we continue to have a planet that can be habitable with its wondrous natural beauty preserved for generations to come. This means taking action on climate change, and this means ensuring that all people are treated equally. Local council has always been an important part to the Greens and exemplifies our commitment to grassroots democracy, which is one of the 4 pillars of the party. I wouldn't be here without the support of my Greens colleagues and friends, many of whom are here today. To them I say a heartfelt thank you. My own personal journey to this point is like many of your journeys and one that reflects the strength of the migrant story in Australia. 26 years ago, my mum, dad, brother, sister and I arrived in Australia. With 5 suitcases carrying all our material possessions, we came here looking for a peaceful home. As a child, when your parents say that all they want is a place to live, a place to call home that is peaceful, it doesn't really mean much to you. But their experience of civil unrest and war in Sri Lanka made them realise that all you really need is peace to survive and thrive. We fared better than many, but had to rely on the kindness of neighbours to get through the terror of that time relatively unscathed. When you're not safe in a place that you belong to, what do you have? Like hundreds of thousands of other Tamils, we left Sri Lanka in the hope of finding a new home. And while we traversed the globe in that time, for me, it was only when I moved to Brunswick that I really felt like I'd come home. Maybe it was the vibrancy, diversity, and character that fanned my initial attraction to it, but it was the people that kept me here. I still marvel at the fact that I can walk down the street and happen across people I know. You don't realise just how important that is until you don't have it. When you move and migrate, you essentially start life again. For most, this is an exuberating and daunting time. For the lucky ones, they will establish their foundations in a new place to rebuild their lives. For many, however, their search for peace and safety is made more difficult by discrimination, exclusion, and isolation. For many, they are not even allowed safe passage to countries that can provide safe haven. To all those seeking refuge and asylum in Australia, I say Moreland City Council is with you. It is because of this journey to Moreland that I feel passionately about contributing to this community, to my community. We have so much as we're rich in resources, yet we also face big challenges to ensure that we build and maintain vibrant, sustainable and livable neighbourhoods. Our municipality is visibly changing. The latest demographic data suggests that our population will increase by 50,000 people by 2036, an increase of more than 30% over the next 22 years. It is predicted that there will be an extra 23,000 dwellings built in that time, an increase of more than a third. The pace of that change is evident all around us, and we are responding to both. We need to meet the population demand and remain a livable city. Our role in guiding and shaping development has never been more important than it is right now. We know that the greater demand for urban density is felt in urban areas like ours. We also know that our citizens want us to plan for population growth and ensure the right infrastructure is in place. They also want neighbourhoods that have open space, safe and accessible paths for pedestrians and cyclists. This community particularly is proud of its social and environmental conscience and asks that we plan for a future in which we tackle climate change through embracing renewable forms of energy and shifting to sustainable forms of transport. We need to continue to work with the state government and advocate on behalf of our community so their voices are heard and their needs are met. As a council, we should be really proud of the advocacy work that we've done. I believe it was the stand taken by Moreland and Yarra councils that turned the tide on the East West Link project and delivered a historic victory for community advocacy and activism. The state government is also planning two of the most significant reforms we've seen for several decades: the review of the Local Government Act, which is underway, and the new rate cap. We are going to work constructively as possible to ensure our voice is heard on both matters. We know the rate cap will have a significant impact on our future financial plans, and we will continue to work hard to balance our need to keep costs and rates low with the needs of the community in the services we provide. As a council, we are committed to letting our community know what we are doing and how we're making decisions. In the past year, we have commenced web streaming council and urban planning committee meetings online, much like tonight's meeting is webcast, taking you right to the major decision-making forums wherever you happen to be in the city. Already, thousands more people have watched us make decisions. We have also provided new and much more interactive website for you to find out about our community and access our services. Our Facebook and Twitter forums have provided new ways to talk to us about the issues that impact you. You will also be able to chat with me online once a month, as hundreds have already done with former Mayor Councillor Hopper. We've also had a change of leadership in our organisation in the last 12 months, with former CEO Peter Brown retiring after nearly a dozen years at the helm, and new CEO Nerina Di Lorenzo returning to Moreland. I'm sure my fellow councillors will agree with me in saying that your leadership and stewardship of council since you began has been exemplary. Our many staff continue to work hard to serve the community, and I know their focus on good service to the community, good planning for the future, and good project delivery will stand us in good stead. I would like to thank all the staff of this council for your hard work and dedication. We couldn't do this without you. We've also had a great year of delivery. In the past year, we've delivered on $1.75 million allocated for community safety in the south of Moreland. We have improved street and public lighting on the Upville bike path. We have illuminated late-night taxi ranks and formed a community safety leadership group. This has resulted in funding and delivery of a powerful family violence prevention program. We will continue this work throughout the year with a boost of over $50,000 to family violence prevention work that we passed in this year's budget. A total of nearly 3,000 streetlights were replaced with energy-efficient LED lights across the Brunswick area between February and June 2015. These are much more efficient and provide much better illumination, resulting in a far superior environmental and community safety outcome. In the coming year, we will roll these lights out in the north of our city, in the north of Bell Street too. We have opened some major facilities this year. The CB Smith Sport and Education Facility in Fawkner was opened in March this year, our first municipal soccer venue and the principal sporting education facility for John Fawkner College and local soccer clubs. It already hosts 3 clubs, including the Victorian State League side, the Moreland Zebras, and only this month it was announced that the Melbourne City Football Club's W League and youth teams will also call CB Smith home this summer. This is a great news for sport in our community. There have also been a number of smaller projects that have improved the amenity of Moreland enormously. The Gowan Bray multi-purpose courts were opened in June this year, the first sporting facility for the Gowan Bray community, featuring 2 fenced synthetic courts lined for tennis, netball and basketball. Bush Reserve in Coburg was completed after it was returned to council by Melbourne Water. Constructed using recycled materials, this is now a sustainable community space for people to play, meet and socialise. Council broke new ground with the creation of an urban park at Wilson Avenue in Brunswick. Construction was completed at the end of June this year and officially opened on the 2nd of August. Not only has this revitalised a tired urban space, but it's also helped improve safety in the area by reclaiming this space for the Moreland community. Our 2015 Local Government Community Satisfaction Survey told us that satisfaction with our family services is the highest in the state. Satisfaction with our libraries and cultural events sits consistently above 95%, and satisfaction with recreation and waste both sit above 90%. We know there's room for improvement in our customer service standards, and we'll be working hard to achieve this, but this highlights some of the tremendous progress we've made over the last few years. We're continuing to progress the Coburg Initiative, including the completion of the Pentridge Boulevard. Our prospects for a major hospital development in Bell Street remain positive, and we continue to prepare for this along with further revitalisation projects in the Coburg local shopping area. These projects will not only improve access to amenities, but also create jobs. Earlier this month, the Minister for Planning also reinstated Moreland Council as a responsible planning authority for the Pentridge estate after more than 20 years in state hands. We've also continued to actively address issues related to climate change in Moreland. Our Zero Carbon Evolution Strategy, launched last year, set out an ambitious plan for our community to reduce carbon emissions across Moreland, and it was an accelerated target that this council adopted when it took office in 2012. We are making steady progress, even though the Commonwealth Government has removed subsidies for domestic solar installation. Council is leading by example with installation of solar cells across council facilities, significantly reducing Moreland's carbon footprint, and we are implementing strategies to overcome the heat island effect by planting 5,000 trees in the 2015 calendar year. Our council has reaffirmed its determination to reduce direct investments in fossil fuels, the first council in Victoria to do so, and sending a strong message to financial institutions. This I'm particularly proud of. We have known for some time that Oak Park Pool has been in desperate need of refurbishment and outright development, and we are now in the design phase and getting ready to develop the facility over the next few years. We will commence construction of the Pascoe Vale Community Centre this year and complete the Brunswick Velodrome and Pavilion. Thanks to some state government funding, we will be making sporting ground improvements to Gillon Oval, Balfe Park and Dunstan Reserve. We've also invested significantly and increased our investment in public toilet improvements across the city. We will undertake further upfill bike path lighting upgrades and roll out energy efficiency streetlights in the north of the city. Our shopping strip renewal program will continue with Stage 1 streetscape works at Gaffney Cumberland Road shops. Stage 2 of Pascoe Vale Road improvements will commence in the early new year, which will be a great accomplishment to the recently completed Morgan Court works, and Stage 1 improvements to Dawson Street and Brunswick will also commence. We will complete an upgrade of the Barry Beckett and Anne Scrow Children's Centres and commence construction of a new children's centre in Coburg. And as mentioned, we will continue our work on family violence prevention with the implementation of the Active Fathers project, which builds the capacity of our nurses to engage with fathers, which will also fit into our new human rights and inclusion policy that is being developed. There are some decisions, both big and small, to be made in the coming year, the last year of our council term. All of these decisions, we know, will have a direct impact on our community. We will consider the implementation of a land trust aimed at delivering social and affordable housing in Moreland. We will finalise options for future development of the Wheatsheaf Hub site in Glenroy. We will finalise how the regional animal shelter project will be delivered. We will also consider options for Merlinston Hall and decide on its potential refurbishment. We will finalise Moreland activity centres and housing strategy and the Moreland industrial land strategy. These are just some of the many things we've got in our plans in the coming year. It is shaping up to be a very, very exciting year. In conclusion, Moreland, as you all know, and as all of us know around the table here, is a great municipality. It is a vibrant democracy and is the results in the diversity and plurality that you see in this council chamber before you. There are things that can be done to make it even better, and I'm looking forward to the challenge and I'm looking forward to working with my fellow councillors and council staff to deliver the best outcomes for the community. It will be an honour to serve you as Mayor this year. Thank you. All right, moving right along. We would now like to present certificates of appreciation to our outgoing Mayor and Deputy Mayor, and I'd like to invite Councillor Megan Hopper and Councillor Helen Davidson up to the podium where we'll present you certificates. Oh, it's a speech too. Okay. Do I move that? Yeah. I'll come back to it. Yeah.
Thank you. Bit of things to do.
I'd like to invite Councillor Megan Hopper to speak.
Well, thank you very much. To have the special privilege of serving the City of Moreland as its Mayor over the past year is not something that I've ever taken lightly. For over 100 years, my family has called this community home. For one short year, I've had the opportunity to lead this community and do my little part in making it that little bit better. This has been an extraordinary year of making things happen. In fact, looking back over the past 12 months, I've been astounded by how long this year has seemed, but also by how quickly it has flown. In the last 12 months, the election of the Andrews Labor state government brought to prominence a number of issues on which Moreland has been campaigning for many years. We stopped the East-West link. Our dangerous level crossings at Bell Street Coburg, Moreland Road Brunswick and Glenroy Road Glenroy have all been listed in the top 50 crossings prioritised for removal. Noise walls at Gowan Bray have been funded to the tune of $10 million. These are all projects that can be delivered under a Labor government. Council's former CEO, Peter Brown, retired, and our new CEO, Nerina Di Lorenzo, commenced her role in late January. In a coincidence of timing, I happened to run into Peter at Melbourne Airport on Friday morning. It felt like coming full circle. One of the greatest pleasures of this year has been building a relationship with Nerina and watching her thrive in her new role. Council staff have truly blossomed under her stewardship, and for me, she has become as much a friend as a colleague. Thank you, Nerina, for your support this year. I'm proud of what Council has achieved this year. I'm proud that we built Brunswick's first new park in 15 years. Wilson Avenue has transformed from a crime hotspot to a colourful little park and bouldering wall that is teeming with people embracing this positive new space every lunchtime and weekend. We also opened a new park at Bush Reserve in Coburg, built from recycled materials from the old Melbourne water site and featuring its own Liberty Swing and soon a public toilet. I'm proud that a budget amendment I introduced in 2014 has led to a brighter, safer Sydney Road corridor with the replacement of all of our old yellow lights with brighter, whiter, more energy efficient and cost efficient LED lights. Young women have written to Council to tell us how much it has changed their commute home each evening. The pace of planning and development continues to be a source of concern for many Moreland residents, particularly in mine and Councillor Ratnam's ward in the South Ward and Councillor Tapanos. But I'm proud that our advocacy to the Planning Minister saved Triple R and community radio listeners across Melbourne from an overdevelopment blocking their Fresnel zone, and that this year we successfully passed Council's Municipal Strategic Statement, residential zones, the heritage overlay on Lygon's interwar properties, the Coburg Structure Plan, and in the next week or two, the Environmental Sustainable Design Policy, and not long after that, hopefully, the Brunswick Structure Plan, the Apartment Design Code and our new industrial zones. I'm disappointed that VCAT continues to get it wrong on critical developments in Moreland, approving a 4-storey monstrosity where Oak Park's suburban fish and chip shop currently stands, and rejecting a state-of-the-art environmentally sustainable development from award-winning architects in the Nightingale project. I'm disappointed that the state fails to see our perspective on mandatory height controls in major activity centres. I'm devastated that private building surveyors failed to stop the destruction of a family mechanics business on Nicholson Street after soil was piled against their wall. These are all matters on which Council must advocate strongly to the state for improvement. I'm proud that we managed to scrape together some savings from the decision not to have a fleet car this year to use to better fund Council's public arts acquisition and gallery programs. When I ran for Council, I promised a more creative Moreland. I've been so appreciative of the relationships I've built with our extraordinary arts community and the support that they've given me. The federal budget cuts to the Australia Council are a national disgrace and ones that we should all speak out against. Thank you to our arts and culture team, including Jenny Marie, Emanuela and Victor, and to our creative community, and specifically I'll mention our Moreland Arts Board team and Glenn, Dan and Lynn at Wick Studios. I'm proud to have led a council that is unerring in our support for asylum seekers and our multicultural community. Earlier this year, I exchanged a few words with the former Minister for Immigration. Afterwards, I was inundated with hundreds of emails, letters and phone calls from the furthest corners of Australia expressing support for Moreland's stance as a refugee welcome zone. I hope that someday soon our federal politicians take the time to listen to that support themselves. I've been fortunate to have been extended a number of opportunities during my term as Mayor, including being the Northern Metropolitan Representative on the Minister for Local Government's Mayoral Advisory Panel, where I pushed for the overhaul of councillor conduct standards that will form part of the review of the Local Government Act. Finally, some personal thank yous. Thank you to my fellow councillors. We don't always agree on everything, but you are a truly representative cross-section of the community, and your hard work and diversity of views make this the council that it is. I've truly appreciated your support this year. Thank you to Council's directors, Kirsten, James, Grant, Arden and formerly Andrew, and to our managers and staff. I'm really going to miss seeing all of you every day, but everything that we get done is because of your hard work behind the scenes. Monica Bucarelli, the Mayor's Executive Assistant and Acting Manager of Governance during the past year, has been my rock. I literally have no idea how I'm going to hashtag life now that I don't have her well-managed diary to wake up to every morning. I've also had the support of wonderful executive assistants in Helen, Sarah and Leonie. Thank you to our comms team for giving the community more and better ways to approach Council through live chats, live streaming and social media. Thank you to our local MPs, particularly Federal MP Kelvin Thompson, State Member for Brunswick Jane Garrett, State Member for Pascoe Vale Lizzie Blandthorne, State Member for Broadmeadows Frank Maguire and the Member for the Northern Metropolitan Region Fiona Patton for their feedback and willingness to accept feedback in return. Thank you to my parents Rhonda and Noel for their continual support and for being made in Moreland. To my friends, I expect I will now see you more regularly. I have an incredible support crew, most notably those from Labor Women's Network, the Young Labor Action Friends and the National Union of Workers. I've tried wherever possible to be a mayor that reaches out to the community, listens to what they have to say and gets real work done every day. I'm about making things happen. I've been inspired every day by our extraordinary community and now I'm looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and continuing to work hard for the great South Ward, Brunswick and North Fitzroy. Thank you so much for your support this year. Let's do it again sometime.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hopper, and we've appreciated your dedication and commitment to your role over the last year. I'd like to invite Councillor Davidson if you'd like to say a few words as outgoing Deputy Mayor.
Good evening, and it's been an honour and a privilege to be the Deputy Mayor of Moreland for this year. We have accomplished a lot, and I'm not going to go over what we have done because I'm sure you've heard it all and it's been in the newspaper and over social media. I'd like to acknowledge the new Mayor, and I'm sure she's going to do a wonderful job, and this year is going to be full of achievement and new adventures. So thank you very much, and I'd like to acknowledge the new Deputy Mayor, Councillor Gillies.
Thank you very much, Councillor Davidson, for all your work as well throughout the year. I'd like now to move to the next item of business, which is moving Report CEO 515, the presentation of the Mayor's speech. Do I have a mover of the motion?
I'd like to move the recommendation on page 3 of the agenda tonight.
Is there a seconder? Seconder. Sure. I'd put that motion to the vote. All in favour? All against? I declare that motion carried. And on that note, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you all for coming along tonight, and please stay with us. Please stay with us for some refreshments at the back of the hall there, and we look forward to chatting to you after this.